No, that Fist My Bump and Amaze, Amaze, Amaze has now entered my vernacular. My kids will show me something, I'm like, amaze, amaze, amaze. Yeah.
Fist my bum. There we go.
Yeah. And then the thumbs down. I've been doing, Godfrey and I have been doing that at each other. We just thumbs down at each other.
Yes.
Oh, that too. I mean, they only have a month left of school now, and they just went back to school today from spring break, which is Master's Week here. So I'm always like, I'm glad that's over. Go back to school. I love my kids though. One of them's behind me.
You got spring break, and I'm sure the end of the year will be here before you know it. But yeah, we'll get into some fun discussion on this little Easter surprise that, we're well past Easter at this point, but this movie released, March 20th, official release date in the United States. But actually on Easter itself, I went to see the new Mario movie. But that's not the subject of today. We're talking about Project Hail Mary, Christianity themed still in the title. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for listening to the Thodcast. Thanks, Bridget, for hopping on and chatting about some movies, big blockbusters lately. Hoping to get at least another chat going on Mario at some point too, because that was fun. Trip to movie theater.
I heard it was cute. I meant to take them like last week, but time escapes me, so. Yeah. We'll go eventually.
So Bridget, you're joining me today for Project Hail Mary from down in Georgia, and I'm up here in northern Minnesota. This is Philip here, taking us through just a little brief casual jaunt across the stars to Tal Ceti or wherever the different interstellar destinations that we reach via conventional propulsion. Well, not totally conventional, but not breaking the bounds of the space-time barrier either. So yeah, some interesting sci-fi concepts in Project Hail Mary. I only saw it once, but it was very indelible, very sticky in its ability to really kind of hook you and keep you interested for the over 2.5 hours of runtime or so. I guess
I know, I didn't even realize it was that long.
Yeah, maybe a little under 2.5 if you ignore the credits. So yeah, well, sweet. Thanks again, Bridget. It's great to chat. And what I don't know, do you have any background on Project Hail Mary? Like the first impression I ever got of this being a thing that exists. Well, it's by the guy who wrote The Martian, I guess, but also it's like sort of a. People were always saying when the film was announced, well, you got to read the book first because there's a big spoiler, and they're inevitably gonna ruin the big twist in the book just in the trailers because it's so just instrumental to the narrative and the plot of the story. Project Hail Mary. I don't know if you had a similar encounter with some of the general premise of this, or if you read the book originally and it wasn't spoiled for you.
So I did not know anything about this going into it, but my husband is a big nerd, loves aerospace stuff. He's an engineer, so his one critique is that when he watches space movies where space things happen, he has to kind of take himself out of what he actually knows about space travel. And he's like, this isn't real. It isn't real. It is a story. Because he's like, of course, there's some things that are not functionally accurate as an astronaut, I guess. But he loved The Martian. He read the book. I don't know that he's ever read Project Hail Mary, but because he liked The Martian, the book so much, he was like, I really like this author, so I want to go and see it. And then a friend of mine told me that Project Hail Mary, the audiobook, is really good and atmospheric. So if you ever want to listen to it instead of reading it, apparently it's pretty good. But no, I kind of went into it. I didn't even know about The Rock. I just knew Ryan Gosling astronaut movie. That's all I knew. So when I went into it, I had nothing. I was just like, okay, I'm just here to see a movie. And honestly, it was one of those movies that I did not expect to be like cackling at one point and crying at one point. It was such like a roller coaster of emotions for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's captivated kind of the general audience, and kind of cool to see like an original story doing well as a blockbuster in today's kind of sequel driven era. But yeah, the going in sort of blind and having that work just as a general experience, it makes a lot of sense for a movie like this. That is very kind of operatic in a lot of ways, but also incorporates some fun, hard science fiction. That it sounds like Godfrey's into that stuff.
Oh
Aerospace.
yeah,
Yeah,
very
cool.
much. Yeah, he loves NASA. We watched Artemis to take off. We watched them land. We watched all the stuff that they did while they were there. Which honestly, they did do some stuff along, I guess, like some like promotional stuff with the astronauts who went to go circle the moon.
Yeah.
So I thought that was neat because and I did see, cause of course we've watched all this stuff, and so there's like at one point when they're up there and they say back to I guess the people here on the Earth, they say something back, and the girl goes, "Amaze, amaze, amaze, gotcha." And I was like, yeah, I like that. I like that. And when I saw like one where the girl was watching them when they were taking off, and she was like playing the music from the movie. She was like, "This is the music you have to be listening to when you're watching this happen."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot to pick apart here. Yeah. People who are big into science fiction, or into just, science and space, practically, will have a certain perspective when watching it depicted in film. And anytime you're trying to, I don't know, like, it's a weird phenomenon. Like, the closer you're trying to get your movie to adhere to reality, the more you open yourself up to like criticism of inaccuracies, and so it's a double-edged sword if you're trying to go that route. But it's worth pursuing kind of a level of detail and authenticity whenever you're telling a story, because that's people love going into those little nitty-gritty facets of a story, and it helps. I don't know. I mean, it helps you recall what you're doing and kind of drives you forward. I don't know. There's something about having great texture to a story, feeling like the author really understands their subject. It kind of drives it along. And I mean, you're very kind of literary minded too, Bridget. Like, you feel like you're just much more compelled by a story if you feel like the person narrating is they know what they're talking about, basically.
Yeah, and like honestly, I mean, obviously, like I like science, but I'm not as into science, like space stuff, as my husband is. But he even said, he was like, "That's just like if I needed to like nitpick it." But like he loved the movie too, so
Mm-hmm.
it was like it wasn't so much stuff that I was like, it's like taking me out of it, jarring me, or something like that. He was like, it was just like knowing stuff about it. He's like, he's like, for a normal person who's like not super into like knowing all the science and stuff that goes into aerospace, he's like, then yeah, you'll be fine. But it was still like, I mean, he really liked it, but she really liked The Martian too. We watched that movie as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can only have so much detail in movies, and a lot of times you do have to really abbreviate stuff. And even like, as much as we're under the illusion that everything happening before us on screen is captured as though it's, you've got that objective lens there and it's like a documentary almost. Yeah, I mean, any kind of fictional film, it's it's probably very far removed from that, no matter how you spin it, because even if it's based on a true story, a lot of times characters will get condensed into composites, multiple characters condensed into one. Or I feel like maybe even like that Nuremberg movie that came out recently, that there are probably multiple characters on whom that Rami Malek character was based. I don't know. Maybe his character was a real person. I don't know all the background on it, but like,
well, it's kind of like Chernobyl, that show that they had, Chernobyl,
oh
where it was
yeah,
like people, there were so many people, obviously, and there was like some characters who were like based on actual people, but there was a lot of people who were like condensed into one person to obviously like streamline a story
yeah,
for show purposes, continuity, and stuff like that.
yeah. That's
So
just
like it makes
one.
sense that it's like condensing it makes it a bit easier, especially for people who don't know what you're talking about. So
That's just one example of how the truth is sort of adjusted to make for better viewing, and it applies to characters, but also to just scientific facts, and the all the the aerospace technicalities, space travel, what is possible in today's, using today's science or potential innovations in the near future to try to propel a crewed mission to another star system to hopefully gain knowledge that can help save our planet as we're experiencing this dying sun phenomenon that we see in this film that's introduced, the astrophage or whatever that's killing not only our star but a whole bunch of neighboring ones as well. It's kind of freaky. It's crazy, like this crazy apocalyptic event that's affecting a whole pocket of the galaxy. And it's like, wow, how do you stop something like that? What would bring something like that about even? And you hear it, you begin to know that it has to do with like biology in general. Like biology is now like the damnation of the cosmos in a way. It's just really kind of at least my takeaway from it, it's kind of depressing.
well, no, and I mean, it's very much like, I mean, because obviously main character is a molecular biologist. And so
Yeah.
it was like, I like that kind of science. That's my vibe. And so it was interesting to see how it's like, okay, this is how we're going to like figure out what this thing is. And like, they end up finding out that it is like a living creature. And so it's like, okay, like, is it an alien? Is it a bacteria?
Mm.
Like, it's very like, obviously not, gosh, what is that movie called? The one with Bruce Willis. What is it called?
Armageddon. Yeah.
Armageddon.
Yeah.
It's very like Armageddon-esque. Obviously, like not as tight at the timeline, but very Armageddon-esque, where it's like, okay, we have to do this. We're all dying. Is it going to be a suicide mission? Yeah, probably. But at least it's only like 3 people dying versus millions and millions of people dying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, believe me, there was like times during the movie that I'm like, y'all gonna get this? Y'all gonna figure this out? You guys are stressing me out. Are you guys gonna solve this? I'm like, I know in the movie, I'm like, they have to solve it. I would think. But
Yeah.
I don't
know. The movie has a certain tone, and it is like it is a pretty maintains a very lighthearted, I don't know, sensibility to it. The Martian was the same way. I know there was all that people joking about how The Martian was like nominated or did it maybe even win the Golden Globe category for like best comedy or musical. And I don't know, does it seem like it fits the category of best comedy or musical? I guess the alternative would have been like best drama, because they divide their best film into those 2 separate awarding, winning categories. But yeah, the tone though, of this was kind of lighthearted despite some of the dire stakes, surrounding it.
Well, and I saw an interview with Ryan Gosling where he was talking about how that authors' works tend to be more lighthearted, and it's more so of like, you don't need this big crazy solution. It's just people trying, and it kind of like brings it back to like, oh, if people just try, if they just come together and they try to fix it, they'll probably be able to. Whereas like, nowadays it's like corporations just throw money at it and they're like, did we make it work? Did the AI save us? And so he was like, yeah, he likes that it is lighthearted because, that is like a pretty intense like thing that you'd probably have to live through. So it's like, it's a good mix, I think, because like I said, there was times where I'm like bawling my eyes out. And then there's other times where I was laughing. And sometimes I was doing both. Sometimes they'd mix it up, throw it in at both times, like all at once. So yeah, he's like known for being more lighthearted in dire situations, I guess.
It's right in the title. This mission is being framed as a Hail Mary, this very unlikely thing to succeed in a way, but like the whole premise of the film is pretty unlikely. This thing that's destroying suns. I mean, what are the chances something like that would ever happen? So like, we don't need to necessarily fear for our own existence based on, but like I don't know. It's the hopefulness, the problem solving. It's more like a fable, more of a parable than necessarily something that we need to spend too much of our brain power like trying to parse. What what is this trying to communicate, other than like we can overcome certain issues, and don't necessarily have to to I guess we spend a lot of time bemoaning a lot of the issues that affect our world, and sometimes if we just kind of focus more on the solution, we just like how this film is uplifting, we can be a little bit more uplifted, I think, by just by realizing that there are solutions to even the most desperate of scenarios.
Yeah, we all just have to get along and be friends, and we can solve everything.
There's a spectrum of like naivete, I guess. There's extreme Pollyanna, but then there's also overly cynical, and if you can be somewhere in the middle, I think that it's probably.
Well, yeah, you can be like an Ava, or you can be a Grace. Yeah. Ava's like, look, it's not looking good. Yeah. And Grace is like, it's fine. We're gonna figure it out. It's fine. They're gonna solve it. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of together. Yes, Ava, Sandra Huller. I was very curious watching this because, like, I felt like I recognized her, and I had seen Anatomy of a Fall, but I didn't recall precisely her face from that. So, like, I was wondering, is that the actress? Because she's got the thick foreign accent in this. And it's like, I wonder, and she's got such a prominent role. I'm like, okay, is that the chick from Anatomy of a Fall? Because I got a lot of publicity, and so I would understand her being cast in some high profile projects, but I couldn't remember for sure. But I don't know. Did you ever see that? Yeah.
No, she's in that, because she also kind of looked familiar to me, but then I looked up her stuff and I was like, I don't think I've seen any of her like discography. So
yeah. I don't think so. No, that was very good. Also kind of a long movie, if I recall, but like just really fascinating.
Oh, it's a murder movie? I should watch that. I love murder stuff. I'm a big true crime podcast gal. This seems right up my alley.
Yeah.
I think I saw trailers for this, but I never went and saw it.
She was also in Zone of Interest, which I haven't seen. I gotta check that one. Zone of Interest. But anyways, the great cast here. Good point about she being a bit more, I don't know, a realist in approaching kind of solutions. But Ryan Gosling's Ryland Grace is very much more kind of an upbeat type character, except in maybe one particular case where he is faced with a certain choice, and it does not go very well in that instance.
Honestly, that I felt like that was a really like true human reaction, because I'm like, I don't know, if someone asked that of me, I'd probably be like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, and I think it's cool we just kind of jump around here, because we'll keep this conversation fairly brief. I mean, there's so much to mine here with the Project Hail Mary, and I just enjoy kind of poking at various key themes and subjects from the things that the topics we discuss. So I'll jump to that. Was probably my favorite part of the movie, the whole revelation about him being forced into the job. I mean, he's you realize when he wakes up from the the hypersleep or whatever. He's the only remaining survivor of the crew, this 3-person crew on the Hail Mary, the name of the ship that's headed towards this one star that's not getting destroyed by the astrophage. They're trying to figure out why. But yeah, like he doesn't remember being forcibly impressed onto this mission, but he also doesn't really know why. Yeah, he also just doesn't really know why he's there to begin with either. So, a bit of a myriad of problems there for him. But yeah, you thought that was kind of a relatable dilemma for him when he's confronted about joining the mission, because there's an accident on Earth where one of the original biologists.
It was like the three because they had 2 backups and they like all get blown up on accident, and so then they don't have a molecular biologist to go because he's not going to have time to train somebody. So I looked up why the other 2 people were dead when he woke up, because I was curious. Because I was like, why are they dead? Because they were like still in their bed. So I'm like, why are they dead? And apparently, so in the book, this is left out of the movie, but apparently there's like tons and tons of like stuff that they did film that they just did not have enough time. So the runtime was 2 hours and 37 minutes, and they cut a ton of stuff. Like apparently they cut like blowing up the North Pole or something like that. They like nuked the North Pole or something like that, I guess, to help global cooling. I don't know. Yeah. This is like some bits and pieces I picked up. But in the book, it's like you have to have a certain gene, because of course being in this like induced coma is like a really risky thing to do. And so everyone has to be tested, and you have to have the gene that makes it more likely that you'll survive. And so he's one of the ones that have the gene. And so that's like, I do think that people die in the book, but then they're like, okay, well, you have the gene, you have to go. And he's like, ooh, no, I don't think so. So that's why he wakes up and everyone's dead. It's because their body didn't withstand being in a coma for that long. Wow. And that's why they're dead. So I was very curious. So I looked into that.
Yeah. They're having to be in this ship for years on end. And
would have been like 11 years, right?
Yeah, it's projected to be like 11 years, and there's like a time dilation involved too if you dig into it. And all the effects of relativity are at play here. I just kind of yada hypersleep earlier, which is something a typical science fiction movie or story might do.
Oh yeah.
But Andy Weir, the author here, clearly he goes deep into even just something like that suspended animation problem that you deal with if you're having long space flight. Things like artificial gravity, quote unquote. How do you simulate the effects of like an Earth-like gravity while traveling in space, and then they deal with that in this film as well later on. There's also
like the centrifuge. That was one of my critiques. I was like, I get that they are spinning, but can they not make the camera also spin while they're spinning? I was just like, there's too much spinning in this movie.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I heard there were some critiques of like how the gravity worked in some of those moments. Yeah, the centrifugal effects. But I don't know. I never got motion sick while watching it. I didn't watch it in 3D or anything. Just kind of.
I didn't feel like motion sick. It was just that every now and then I'd be like, "Can we stop spinning?" Because they would eventually stop, so it wasn't a big deal. But I was just like, "This is kind of making my head hurt." I feel like, why are we spinning so much? It's like watching one of those like shaky cam movies. I'm like, why are we moving so much? But I think that was like my only like nitpick about the whole movie. I was like, we didn't have to spin all that time.
And perhaps the most interesting wrinkle about some of the science is how they are able to achieve propulsion that can get them to this neighboring star, which is through the use of the thing that's causing the problem to begin with, the astrophage. It's this creature, this organism that is so energy intensive in its metabolism that it consumes this solar radiation and then is capable of expelling just such a tremendous burst of energy. Like I don't know, it's so efficient in how it stores energy, and they can harvest that and then release that as a form of propulsion in space to get the ship from Earth to. I gotta get the name of the star where they're headed.
It was Tau Ceti.
Tau Ceti. Okay.
Yeah, Tau Ceti.
Yeah.
Because that's what they call the thing at the end. It's the Tau amoeba.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to remember what the one that Rocky is from.
Right.
The Iridian or
yeah.
Arid, and he's done their Iridians.
Arid. I think there's a longer name for that system, but I think they just shorten it here mostly to Arid. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, Tau Ceti. This is where they're headed from Earth, and yeah, it takes years if you're going to travel from star to star, and there's all the. I mean, in a lot of shows and movie, you've just got the invented faster than light sort of ideas that, and they break the bounds of the space-time understanding of the reality. So yeah, that's not something that we've come close to developing, the entire like quantum underpinnings of reality or whatever. We're not messing with that for this hard sci-fi film here. Refreshingly, it's not another case of yada yada hyperspace or warp drive.
Wait, and I also like that he was just kind of clueless. Like, which he did say, like, with the filming, he spent like the first 100 days of filming alone in that spaceship because they built the whole set. Everything was practical. And so he was like, yeah, this is a whole set that they've made. And he was, so I like that it's literally just him like going around, messing with stuff. Every time he goes in like the pilot chair and it's like, oh, pilot detected. And he's like, no. I'm not the pilot. I don't know what I'm doing. Do not, no. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like, especially because he doesn't remember why he's there initially. So he's just like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy on a spaceship in space for some reason.
Okay. Yeah. Filming began June 3rd, 2024, wrapped October 26th, 2024. So, I mean, yeah, big budget movie. So they had a lot of time. And I mean, yeah, so much of this is just Ryan Gosling basically on a set. So
I mean, I'm not mad at it. No. I'm not mad at it. I love Ryan Gosling. Well, and I saw that some people, when they like named that he was going to be the actor, that some people were like, Ken's gonna be the molecular biologist guy. And I was like, no. You guys have to watch other Ryan Gosling films. He can do more. You guys don't remember The Notebook? He was very dramatic.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he's maybe a little impenetrable as an actor. I've never found him like overly, I don't know. I mean, he gets cast in a lot of things and he's very good looking, I guess. And yeah, he was in The Notebook and all that. But like, as far as brimming with personality, I never really, felt that. I mean, even in like as animated character as Ken is in the Barbie movie, that the whole point of that character is that it's kind of zap it. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I was like, and I think it's one of those things that people love to hate what other people like. I think that's probably what it is. Because I'm like, out of all the Ryans, he's my favorite one. Yeah. Ryan Gosling's my favorite one. Because my favorite movie with him in it is Crazy Stupid Love with Emma Stone and Steve Carell. That's probably my favorite one. It's a comedy, but it's great. I like him in it. But yeah, like some people were like, oh yeah, I don't know about that. But then he did it, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like he brings like sincerity to the role. He has charm. He seems very concerned. Yeah. He doesn't seem stupid. Like once he realizes why he's there, it's like, oh, actually, he is smart. He just is kind of like imposter syndrome. Doesn't think that he's smart enough to be there.
Yeah, I think I feel like, at least for me, it's hard not to compare him to like Ryan Reynolds, the other handsome Ryan who does who's cast in a lot of things, and yeah, he's a Marvel superhero and all that. So like, but I think he's kind of got the opposite issue where he's maybe he suffers from an excess of personality in a way, and it just gets great.
Well, I will say, well, Ryan Reynolds, I did like back in the day, but he, especially with all of his capital ventures, all the things that he owns and buys and sells, I'm like, I don't love him anymore. He kind of gets my nerves. And I was like, I can only watch Deadpool say stuff so many times before I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's enough, Ryan Reynolds. It's kind of like The Rock. I like The Rock, but that's enough, Rock. Like, I don't want to see him in his Texas mom wig in Moana live action. I don't want to see it.
No.
It's so bad. I was like, y'all, give him Polynesian hair. But yeah, that's how I kind of like, I used to like Ryan Reynolds because I watched his stuff like back before he was Ryan Reynolds, before the hair plugs. And so I'm like, I don't know, Ryan Gosling's my favorite one, I think.
Yeah, sometimes these guys, they need to know when to cool their jets. But I guess it's hard when you're in that, level, the stratosphere, you can't.
You hit a certain level of like money, I guess. And you're like, well, I got to keep making it. I have a certain lifestyle to keep.
Yes.
That's not in a spaceship. So.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of cool, like real world science elements in this, but then we do kind of have this big revelation. I get it's foreshadowed initially by the fact that the astrophage is this. It's basically an alien species, this microbial alien that harvests energy in a very peculiar way, and in such a way that I guess creates this effect that it's like a virus for stars, but it is a living thing. They use it for propulsion, and then when he arrives at his destination, Ryland Grace, he discovers that there's also another interstellar interloper at this Tau Ceti location, also perhaps in pursuit of a solution to this viral issue, the astrophage problem that's impacting all the planet or the suns in this region of the galaxy. It's like a whole new alien inhabitant of first he sees this mysterious ship, and then it all just kind of springs from there. So that's when you mentioned Rocky or the Rock, or I don't know. Yeah, you weren't talking about.
I did both.
Yeah,
they're both here.
You weren't talking about Dwayne Johnson and his pretty southern. The Southern Belle hair. No,
yes, Texas mom hair.
But
this Rocky is also bald, so we're good.
So we're introduced to like this the species of sentient aliens in this film, and that really kind of takes a leap, and that's sort of the big twist that I think people were talking about leading up to this movie, where it's like it's about a first contact in a way, especially with like an alien intelligence, but also like a very touching and heartfelt kind of version of that.
Oh yeah, it's like I think it's so funny that they made them like he's so advanced in like ways, because he like when he's like keeps trying to throw the messages to Grace. And he's like, oh, Grace is like, oh, he thinks I'm stupid. That's what's happening. He thinks I'm stupid. And so it's like he keeps like, finding ways to make sure that they can contact each other. And he's like, okay, fine. I'll make things. I'll make things so you know who I am and what I'm doing, what's happening. And so I was like, I thought it was a fun little way. He was like, because they're just like, I'm sure that they're like advanced, but also like he's, at least the way that he's portrayed, sometimes he says things weird and it's just kind of silly. So I'm like, I like that he like doesn't know what's happening sometimes, but it's also like much more advanced than the human race.
Yeah, amazing. The language thing just never fully, gets resolved. But it's these are species that were on totally different trajectories of biological development, and so it's just a fascinating divergence that you see between two ways that life can.
When it's also like a rock
Yeah.
person. Like, well, when it first showed up, I was like, oh my gosh, is it going to be a spider? Is it a spider? And it wasn't a spider, but I was like, it's a spider rock. It kind of looks like a spider. It's a spider rock. But this alien is. Because at first I was like, oh, that's not cute. But then eventually I was like, oh, okay, he's cute. I like him. And I think once you give him a voice and make him a bit more human, I was like, oh, okay, I do like him. They're funny. Um, but I did like when they were doing the voices and they like had the little like Meryl Streep cameo. Apparently that was a surprise. Ryan Gosling did not know that was going to happen. Apparently, like he did a lot of ad-libbing. They did a lot of ad-libbing in this. They kind of were just like, yeah, do whatever you want. Say whatever you want. And I guess he had said something about in one of his ad libs that Meryl Streep can do anything. And so they were like, oh my gosh, you know what we should do? We should get Meryl Streep to secretly do one. Like she's uncredited. She's not in the credits. It was a legit surprise. So he was getting the voice. He basically had them give him like earbuds so that they could communicate with him to tell him what to do in shots and stuff, kind of give him some, I guess, tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that because he was like literally by himself in this like thing.
All right.
And so they were feeding him the different little sentences. And so when it popped up and the Meryl Streep one, that's when he was like, oh, he's like, Meryl Streep can do anything. So it was supposed to be like a British accent or something. That's what he was like expecting to happen. So I thought that was a lot of fun. Which Godfrey was like, oh, he's like, I don't know, that feels like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink moment. But I was like, I like those. Shush, you shut your mouth.
Yeah. The I guess translation software, like plot device here was interesting. Like I totally understand how our technology could eventually get to that point of like parsing out the alien communication because Rocky his species has a certain his perception
like tones.
Yeah, it's all based on echolocation, so he can also produce certain tones that can then be translated by a computer. And I mean it's very advanced how they do it, but I don't know, I buy that a computer, I guess, because it's not like they're able to connect to Wi-Fi or anything and get firmware updates and have a vast infrastructure from which to draw additional data. It's basically whatever.
He's just typing in stuff.
Yeah, computers important. Well, but also like, I don't know. It seemed like a tall order for any individual to just try to program a bunch of stuff like that too. But I don't know.
he's like, I'm smart. I'm that smart. Well, it kind of reminded me of Arrival with Amy Adams. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of, where they're like trying to talk to them, and then they're like, okay, this means this means this. So I was like, I see you guys borrowed that. Someone borrowed it from somebody. But that's kind of what it reminded me of. But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It was like so cool that they could just like, he's like, here, don't worry, I'll make a tunnel, and has oxygen and everything that you need, and don't worry, I'll also make myself a little pod so I can come in your place too.
The
just hang out here.
Xenonite or whatever, this material that's able to encase Rocky, the Iridians, I guess, is his species basically, and the five-limbed rock spiders / crabs /
I guess crab is probably a good crab rock.
Blind rock creature. Yeah, because they don't perceive electromagnetic waves, radiation, that kind of thing. And so like he doesn't understand really the humans' ability to perceive things through sight. So it's all just like us, we get some idea of how his brain simulates the, visual, or I would all be audible messages, stimuli
Yeah, well, it's like, and they show it. It's like he kind of basically like sees like the sound waves, I guess, of the
yeah.
people and the things, and that's how he can see stuff. But I will say, I don't think I've ever felt like so bad for a little rock crab thing. When he was just like, oh, because you're saying that they can't see like radiation and stuff, and so he was just like, oh yeah, everyone died. They're all dead. They just went to sleep and they never woke up. And I was just like, dang, I've never felt so bad for a rock. I
Yeah.
don't think. And
No,
Greg's just like, yeah, dude, same.
it's fully sentient, fully sapient. You know, they've got as much as rich, I guess, an inner life as any one of us.
They're just like us. They're just like us.
It's crazy, but very different from how we'd normally picture a intelligent alien species. You know, normally it's just a person dressed up in a funky costume or something.
Yeah, gray, or it's like the gray or green like alien with the big head and the big eyes.
Oh goodness,
stereotypical one.
Yeah. The Rocky's not very humanoid as far as that goes.
Oh no. Yeah, that's why I was like, ooh, rock spider. Okay, rock spider, interesting. Rock spider that screams and sings. Okay, well, I like that it would like copy what he was doing too. That was a fun little bit. I was like, yeah. As I said, it was very funny. There was times I was crying, times where I was laughing. But I did like that they like went to go, I guess, figure out why Tal said he wasn't like dying, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, hey, we're going to make all these things. We're going to do all this stuff. I'm like, why did Grace have to risk his life getting that ball? Could they not have just left the atmosphere and gotten the ball up? Would it have come off? Is that what the theory was? Did we need all that stress?
They maybe needed a way to pull it into the ship while it was still in atmosphere, and they couldn't do that without him going out on the hull and grabbing it himself. I don't know. They could have maybe fashioned a way to do something like that using the tools of Rocky's ship too. Maybe I mean, who knows? They needed that whole action sequence to play out as it did, so the movie.
I know you need some tension. Like I get it, but I was like, could they not have waited? Because like it closed, so I was like, could they not have waited until they were out of the atmosphere so they don't just like straight up almost die? But that's what we were like watching it, and so I did hear this part about it. So you know how Rocky things go wrong, everything's messed up. They still manage to get hurt, and Grace is like knocked out. And so Rocky's like, okay, I gotta save us. So he busts out his thing, oxygen and all that fun stuff, burns him. He can't live in our atmosphere, but he still like, makes his way to the incredible, super healthy robot person thing that keeps you alive. Health robot. And then he manages to like, get himself back encased in a thing. So apparently in the book, once Grace wakes up, he tries to save Rocky. He thinks that he's like, oh, I see all this soot and stuff. I can save him. So apparently he tries to like do surgery to save him on a rock. I don't know how it works. To get the soot out, and Rocky lives like he does in the movie. A spoiler, I guess. He lives, but I guess like after Rocky wakes up, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, like you shouldn't have done that. You actually almost killed me. The soot was like saving me. And he's like, oh, oops, my bad.
Interesting.
So don't do surgery on unknown extraterrestrial life that you're not familiar with.
Yeah, well, because they're evolved to. It's like sometimes we're talking about Christianity earlier, and a word like evolved, and I feel like sometimes be a trigger word for some of the audience, consuming this kind of material, where like, pushing evolution on on our kids. But I mean, no, that's just how biology works. It's always growing and changing and developing, and that's just we're evolving biological mechanisms that adjust to and adapt to our environment. So
we're literally evolving not to have wisdom teeth. So
really, okay.
Yeah, apparently because our brains have gotten bigger, and we don't necessarily, I mean, not crazy big, but like a bit bigger. And then we don't eat raw meat like they used to. So we don't need all those molars.
Okay.
So apparently, human jaws over time are starting to get smaller. So you need less teeth. So people are now starting to not have wisdom teeth. So the more you know, I went to school for dentistry stuff for a while. So I know a lot about teeth. So if they ever do a dentist movie, I'm here. I'm ready for it.
No, but the word "evolve" doesn't have to be code for pushing secularism on people either. But no, the fact that we're evolved to exist in a certain pressure environment and breathe oxygen, and Rocky is I don't know, he's made of xenonite, maybe, I don't know, but I don't
remember what exactly what his atmosphere is full of. I don't recall if they actually said that.
Apparently, intense.
Yeah, I do know it's like xenon.
Well, ammonia, I think, the gas. So he would naturally be a very different. He exists at a vastly different temperature even from human. So they couldn't really even touch each other realistically without it just burning off.
Well, because I remember when he dropped the thing, he was like, "Oh, that's hot." So I assume that the rocks are hotter.
Yeah, so I don't know how he would have performed surgery. I guess very carefully. Some kind of barrier, I guess. One of those.
Well, yeah, especially because he's in this. He has all the science stuff there. So I imagine he just used the gloves or whatever. Because that's what he does when he opens his thing. Because you remember he opens it and air starts to some air that you can kind of see comes out. He's like, "Oh no!" And he closes it back and throws it in the thing before he's made contact with Rocky. He's like, "I'm just opening alien things, not knowing what is going to come out of it." Crazy move, I guess. But I mean, hey, you're already on a suicide mission in space. What else could go? What could go wrong?
Those little ancillary details of, "Oh, you almost killed me, even though you're trying to save me." I mean, those little things kind of pad out. I feel, more so in novels where you just kind of, you have time to sort of meander down these various little avenues to kind of color the relationship a little bit, show that things aren't always sunshine and roses, but also, you want to make sure these characters kind of on the same page, realizing that, even if the outcome wasn't the best, the intentions were pure, or, vice versa. Or the inverse, you want to know, do these separate characters have their own kind of ulterior motives at play in what they're doing as well? And there's really never any risk of that or indication of that. I feel, they all, well, and what was that about Rocky's species? It was his crew that died and then went to sleep.
Yeah, they died from there's a radiation leak or something, and they can't. He, I guess, was lucky that he survived, and all the other ones didn't.
But there still nothing quite as drastic had occurred back on his home planet as of yet. And same with Earth. I don't know. There's probably a certain number of casualties that occur from ultimately the sun fading the bit that it does, but ultimately the day is saved and they're able to get rid of the astrophage, and because I don't know, what is it, these biological organisms that exist on the planet in Tau Ceti, what they call it, Planet Adrian or something.
Because that was Rocky's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So they name it Adrian, and then they this bacteria, amoeba things that they find. It's little species that they find. They end up calling the Tau amoeba.
Yeah.
But then they're like, "Oh, you thought we were having a happy ending? No, the Tau amoeba have now evolved, and they can escape the xenite things." And because it was he got a warning, and it was these, because those things eat the astrophage. It was actually eating all of his fuel.
Oh,
and he was like, "Oh no!" He was like, he's like, so he like kind of has to go back and forth, like, ooh, do I never go back to Earth and save Rocky, or do
Right.
I not save Rocky and he dies in space and probably his planet also dies and
Right.
I save Earth? And I was like, so of course they trickle in the memories. So we don't actually know that Grace did not willingly go until the end. And I was like, at least my theory was that this whole thing of him choosing, spoiler, I guess, choosing not to go back and to go and save Rocky was like his way of like, I don't know, being brave, like showing that he's changed. He's not just like, I mean, he's obviously not like, I don't think he's selfish, but like, I mean, it's a big ask to be like, hey, you want to go on a suicide mission and never come back and die, but you might save everyone, but you might not. Like, that's a big ask. And so I think that's kind of like showing how he's changed to be like, you know what? It's fine if I don't make it back because I'd rather save him and his planet and just send back the stuff hoping that I save mine as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, I thought that was a good like character development moment for him.
Yeah, it was a nice kind of earned fourth act, almost on top of what would have been just sort of a nice, clean 3-act adventure. But then, yeah, this added layer of him discovering, Rocky is, he's kind of doomed potentially. I suppose like there were certain, certain instruments on Grace's ship that were able to detect the issue, probably that Rocky's ship just wouldn't have because of the difference in which in the ways their technology evolved. I'm guessing that was why he figured Rocky would never have discovered the fault or something along those lines.
Well, that's kind of what I gathered as well, because it was like, I mean, he got a notification, like it was like a warning that the thing had escaped. There was like something in the air that's not supposed to be there. But he was like, it was kind of like the same thing with the radiation. He was like, they don't have the same equipment or like knowledge to be able to detect things like this. So he's like, so the astrophage is just going to get eaten up, and he's not going to know why. And he's going to be stranded.
Yeah.
Which, and they kind of, we actually get in the movie more of a like roundabout. We know they got the probes. We know that Earth gets the information. Apparently in the book, you don't really know. Like he doesn't, like, I don't think he ever actually knows that he did save the Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be, I mean, everything just kind of gets wrapped up in such a nice little bow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. I love people are resonating and responding to this movie, and that's great. It's great for, cinema and movie theaters, continuing to thrive. And, I would hope, they can. I mean, obviously it's been a dicey era for the industry, but things like sequels, especially, and like the new Mario movie, like doing gangbusters, and
Well, theirs is also Galaxy Space.
another space movie.
Honestly, well, I also think that this is going to kind of revitalize people's love of space, because I feel like, especially like NASA and some of those have kind of gotten like kind of beaten down in the last couple of years. So I'm really hoping that this, like, people find it interesting, and like kids want to be astronauts, and we continue to fund space research and things like that benefit everybody. So I'm hoping it like revitalizes both. We get good movies that aren't just like sequels and cash grabs, and also people are interested in space and keeping it going.
Have you ever had wisdom teeth removed? Out of curiosity.
I have. Okay. I had all 4 of them cut out because they were all impacted. Because again, evolution is dumb. They're never going to come out, and you don't have any room in your mouth for them. And I was like, cool. I love that.
I had some molars removed when I had braces, so I didn't necessarily need to have wisdom teeth extracted. But
I did too.
I did though have at least one wisdom tooth pulled, because I think it just had a cavity, and they were like, yeah, it's not worth filling. just pull it out.
Just pull it out. You don't need it. Well, and they say, so I actually, so you have premolars. So you have 2 premolars on each side, top and bottom. So 8. And then you have 2 molars, and then your third molar is the wisdom tooth. So I actually had my first set of my premolars all taken out when I had braces because, again, mouth too small, small mouth problems, I guess. But then when they were like, oh yeah, you do have wisdom teeth, but they were like, basically were like in the x-ray, they were growing sideways. And if you don't get them cut out, they'll basically push all your teeth together eventually. Mm-hmm. But I have heard that if like you get a wisdom tooth and it cuts through normally and it's just like a normal tooth, you are safe to like leave it there. You don't have to get it cut out. So, but impacted you do. It's a bad time.
Was that while you were studying dentistry? Or after, before?
It was before I was doing dental. I was doing dental assisting, but I did have my wisdom teeth done before. But my favorite part when I was doing dental assisting school was I did not tell people I was missing teeth. So you have to, each tooth has a number. And so we had to know what they looked like what tooth looks like what, how to know if it's a top one or a bottom one, what side of the mouth it's on. We had to know that just by looking at a tooth. And so the girl was like counting my tooth, and I felt her like count again. And she was like, I'm very confused. She was like, you don't have enough teeth. She was like, teeth are missing. And I was like, oh yeah, I am missing teeth. I was just not going to tell you. So I'm missing 4 teeth that I should have, not including my wisdom teeth. So technically you're supposed to have 32 teeth. I only have 24 as an adult.
Okay. Wow. Well,
yeah, I got a big mouth. So yeah, that's your daily dose of dentistry with Bridget. Daily dose.
Great. I mean, we're all different, and as long as you can, I don't know, chew a little bit. I don't know. It's like, the Iridians, they've got these 5 limbs, and on each limb there's like 3 fingers. They get, it's a very interesting, versatile anatomy, but they're also very protective of each other when they, are in a. They're like food. Anytime they eat, they go into like a food coma. And they've
that part was so funny. He was like, "You look disgusting. The way you eat is disgusting." And he was like, the way I eat is amazing and beautiful." And he did it. And he's like, "Oh my god, oh no." I was like, "What is he eating with? Where is he eating from? What is he eating?" Is what actually one of the questions I had. What are you eating? I was like, is he just eating like the xenonite? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that one. But yeah, they had so many like funny little parts. Like when he comes onto the ship and he's like, I'm going to live here now. Where's my room? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dirty, dirty, dirty. Why is it dirty? He's like, I wasn't supposed to have company. But also I just like thinking about the fact that Rocky's voice actor is also his puppeteer. Right. And that during these sequences, there's actually like multiple men running around with this rock creature while they're doing the scene.
Yeah, it's important to mention, like, as much as Gosling was kind of solitary on set, there's a lot of puppeteering involved, which is cool that, there's a lot of practical effects to bring this Rocky character to life. And in sort of a tradition of a lot of puppet performances, the voice actor of Rocky is indeed puppeteer James Ortiz, kind of one of the I guess probably the primary guy controlling Rocky on set. So great that they allowed that kind of personality to shine through.
Oh yeah, and I was looking at some of the practical effects that they did, and it's like when he's looking at Talsetti before they're doing all the things, and it's like all of the red lights and stuff sparkling around him. Apparently they did that all with like LED lights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I saw like a whole thing. It was basically like he's like surrounded by like it kind of looks like plastic wrap.
Wow.
Or like some kind of like plastic something, like sheeting. And then it was just like thousands of LED lights. And that's how they like make that happen. But what they were saying is that it was like, I actually think it was like ultraviolet something. I'll have to send you the video. I have it somewhere. But they were like, you couldn't see it with the human eye. But they took something off of the camera, like a type of lens that made it where it captured it when they filmed it. Huh. And so it was very practical. And apparently it's just, that whole movie is just full of practical effects.
It's good. Yeah. I mean,
Like, I don't think they used any CGI. I think that's what they said.
helps add to the magic. I know they needed CGI to like remove the crew working on Rocky
Yeah.
and some of that stuff, and then maybe some of the more rapid movements that he makes. There's certain things that they just aren't able to capture quite as effectively through the apparatus of the puppet itself. But other than that, I mean, there's so much they can do with computers. It becomes, it's a little too tempting to just rely on that as a crutch in today's modern production. But it adds a certain amount of magic when you can have these things being photographed practically, because there's just so much in the little like ways of a real object twitches and has these micro movements. I mean, you can tell like it, even with like say Grogu, the character, Baby Yoda from Mandalorian, like the puppet, like the little ears, if he moves his head, they there's like a little shaking that goes on that usually in like a CGI character it would just be perfectly smooth. Whereas with animatronic or a puppet, it's you get that organic kind of, it's not perfectly, not everything's so perfectly choreographed.
Well, I honestly hope that the success of this film like encourages people to go back to more practical effects, because like, especially with the rise of AI and all that stuff, like I don't want a movie that looks all fake.
No.
I don't. It's like look at the original Lord of the Rings. Those movies were very much mostly practical effects and people. And I saw a thing that's like Ian McKellen literally cried when he did The Hobbit because it was a CGI. He was like, I'm in a green room by myself. This is horrible as an actor. And I'm like, yeah, like we should just go, like the good movies have stood for so long because they were good and real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've even seen complaints about the new Devil Wears Prada.
Oh wow.
The like sequel, because it was like the first one looked like real people in a life doing things. And of course, like it's still a movie, so it seems like a movie. But like the new one, they were like, it's so like I don't know, so light, everything's so bright and like fake looking. They're like, it felt like I was watching an ad for 2 hours. It's like she's like brushing her teeth and it feels like an ad. It doesn't feel like a movie. And I'm like, I don't know if maybe it's just like the cameras have gotten better. So the lighting, they do the lighting differently. Like everything seems like everyone's on like they have like a ring light. All movies are on a ring light set. Nothing is normal anymore. Like the same thing with Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday was the same way. Like people complained about how like sterile the new one looked because it was just, it's so bright and everything's so crisp and clean. And it's like I know, like obviously suspend belief when I'm watching a movie, but like I know it's a movie, but I should still be convinced that these are real people living in real life, you know?
Okay. And that's a real phenomenon that's kind of caught on in meme culture. Netflix lighting is the term, refers to a modern streaming aesthetic characterized by soft, high-key lighting, minimal shadows, and high-definition clarity that creates a clean, bright, and polished look. And I guess, if people are watching on their small devices, it's like you want something that's going to be able to communicate these visuals in as effective a manner as you can on that sort of format. But it takes away from the cinematic presentation if you're watching a traditionally sized display, or a movie theater screen, blown up into blown up in a large format. This Netflix lighting looks terrible.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure in a movie theater, it's like movie theaters are supposed to be dark. If the whole room is lit because the movie is that bright, it's like unless it's like a kid movie. A kid movie's full of colors, that should be bright. But like just a normal movie where they're just living in New York, I'm like, have you been to New York? Do you know what New York looks like? It doesn't look like this.
Also, I guess the fear of like, the AI kind of look to everything that kind of is generated from the chat GPT or what do they call that?
The generative AI. Well, there's There's Claude, there's ChatGPT, there's like OpenAI, all the things.
And like stuff that just the general content we consume, whether it's made by AI or not, the conspiracy that it's all going to try to merge into looking the same, so that when they actually do use AI and kind of use the shortcuts like that, you can't really tell, because it's all, we're all trying to like homogenize and acclimate people to that sort of aesthetic, so that they're just more accepting of it. But
well, I think like everything I ever see that's generated by AI, it has a certain like a sheen. It's like a smoothness to it that I'm like, I hate that.
Yeah.
Can we not do that? Can we stop doing that? Like, why don't you just let people do art? That's what the people are for. Just let us handle that. We don't need that. Because I've heard that there's been some like issues with anime. There's been a lot of because of course there's been a lot of pushback. They're like, no, if we have animated like cartoons, drawings, digital art, whatever, we want it done by people. And so a lot of these production companies are coming out. They're like, we're not using it. But there's been a lot of people like, well, they have production companies have different groups of people they use to do these, and they're like, you cannot they're like, it's going to be so hard to try and nitpick who is using it and who isn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think we should just not, because that's the beauty of it. That's why people are drawn to it. If Studio Ghibli was all AI, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah, it's wasteful. It promotes laziness, cutting corners. But yeah, just even the wasted energy and computing power alone is not worth it. But then also if something's going to be of quality, there just has to be a certain amount of time and effort that goes into it. Otherwise, it's going to read as lazy or as just flimsy, and not very well thought out. There's just a certain thing the certain sweat equity that you can't get around when realizing the quality of something, of a product. A good, solid, high quality product, whether it's art or something more practical like clothing or consumer products. If it's rapidly created and carelessly assembled, then people are going to be able to tell when it's not going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart, and it's hard to eventually. It's going to cause issues for the entire industry.
Yeah. Well, that's how we feel exactly. And I feel like a lot of times people are because we go to cons and stuff, and a lot of the cons have straight up been no AI. If we find out you have AI, you will be asked to leave. We're not supporting that, not in artist circles. That's so silly. And so and I think a lot of people, when you think of art or movie or music or any of it, a lot of people are like, oh, it's just the finished product. I just want to make a finished product. And I'm like, well, no, the whole part is the work that goes into it. I love Adele's albums, but it's not because Adele is singing it. It's because she put her work and her life into her music. And I mean, she does also sing amazing, which helps. But there's the meaning and the feeling. And I'm like, yeah, that's why people connect to it. Because I've seen a lot of people having issues with finding out that artists on Spotify are completely AI and not real. And they're having some minty bees over there because they're like, what do you mean that's not a real person? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I don't listen to anybody new on Spotify. You can't trust it. No.
Yeah. Well, I know, myself personally, I sometimes struggle with loving and appreciating and trusting the process rather than just wanting an end result and a product that I find satisfactory. And so, I feel like I'm particularly susceptible to that kind of sensibility of just give me something that looks good or that passes for, what you're trying to achieve. And if you use a shortcut, then whatever. But with all this AI stuff, I don't know. And there's maybe once in a while going to be something that does pass as fully legitimate, but it's not worth all the rigmarole of the other stuff it's just total slop. But no,
most of it is slop.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, and because I mean, I am a full on AI hater. Just gonna put that out there. But I do think that it can be used in certain ways. Like, it's been used in medicine,
Yeah.
and in science, and it's helped a lot. And I'm like, I think like it should be used to make things easier, so we as people have more time to do things that require our creativity. I'm like, I don't want AI to make music. No, I'm like, go do my dishes, wash my laundry, fold my clothes. I don't want to do any of that. Help science, help solve cancer. Do that. I don't want you to make movies or music or cartoons or nothing. I don't want any of that. I want people to do that. And that's why I'm like, give us the free time to enjoy doing that, not just working forever.
Yeah. As much as, maybe there's some ability to mine through all the slop for hidden gems, it's ultimately not worth it. And we already have infinite content in this world in which we live. So it's like,
believe me.
Yeah.
Well, just watching my kids watch stuff. Like, my kids will go, like, my son will go on YouTube Kids, and just watching him scroll through, I'm like, that's AI. That's AI. We're not watching that. That's AI. I'm just like, geez. And I'm like, it literally is slop. It's just like, they're like, hey, what if I combine SpongeBob with Mr. Beast and also the Disney Channel all together in one cartoon? And I'm like, this is horrible. Oh, and also like Tung Tung Sahur. You got to add that and 6-7 in there. Awful. It's god awful. It's so bad.
Yeah. We'll head out. I mean, because to get overly recursive and just horrible, I could bring up the fact that, what we're doing right now, like if you're listening to a podcast or something, I mean, that is just adding to the pile of content. But I mean, the value I get from this is more just from the ability to chat with you and get your perspective on these cool things, and it's like, if you can't enjoy something like Project Hail Mary with other and like share in the, enjoyment of the fiction and the storytelling, then what is it even worth it to begin with? You're just doing this in solitude. So like, you and I get to hang, and if someone also wants to listen to this and hear what we have to say, then and derive value from that, that's also what podcasts are meant for. And that's why I love podcasts. I've listened to things.
Same.
So I mean, so much more so in many ways than a lot of this other, the other slop that gets put in the algorithm that's just designed to be kind of mindless
consumerism, like selling things and all that stuff. Yeah. And that's like, I love podcasts and like deep dive videos and stuff, because I can do that. I can listen and like, have my own thoughts, but also listen while I'm doing stuff. And it's like, I'm there. I am there with people when I'm, just like doing my dishes.
Yeah. So much of what I curate to watch for myself, shows, movies, is based on what I know I can then follow up with on a podcast, that somebody, I follow, has made and has, engaged in a discussion, reviewing perhaps, in many ways, like a classic film, like a film review podcast that, I can then listen to the episode after going back and watching, a movie that's maybe from, decades ago, years ago. I guess most recently, I actually went to a special screening of the movie Babe, Pig in the City, which I had never seen.
Oh, you hadn't seen it?
No. Yeah, the sequel.
I grew up with Babe.
Yeah. And then afterwards, these podcasters did a Q&A, I guess they just did kind of a breakdown. I don't think there was a Q&A. Almost mercifully, sometimes these crowds suck at answering or asking good questions. But
believe me, I've been to a con. They'll ask the most redundant stuff, and I'm like, they said that. They already said this. Why are we asking this? So they're like, here, we're gonna assume your questions, give you answers, no questions.
It's just a good way to kind of curate, going back and crossing things off of your blind spots throughout the film history. And it's just, there's so much. I don't know if there's another. I'm debating whether to listen to this episode by a podcast I follow on The Departed, because I saw that once probably over a decade ago by now, and I don't remember very much of it. And it's a very good movie, Martin Scorsese. So I think I need to like give it another watch before then I listen to this podcast reviewing it.
So. I feel like I have also. I feel like I watched that like once. A million years ago. It was 2006. So yeah, 20 years ago. I don't remember nothing. But yeah, I mean, I do that too. Like I'm like, oh man, I don't remember that movie like that. So I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta go watch it. Although I've done that before, and then I'm like, ooh, that didn't age well. So there's also
another show is they're going through the Mortal Kombat movies. Of course, we got this other Mortal Kombat coming up. So I've just for the first time watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the infamous sequel.
Oh my gosh.
One of the, yeah, like on IMDb, it's always been famed as like one of the worst movies ever made. And I don't know, it was just fun ASMR, you know, for just like how seeing is believing almost with these things. Like, so good it's bad in a way.
Oh yeah, well that's like
so bad.
Like well, I don't know if I actually ever saw that movie, but I do know about it because I watch Search for the Worst, and I'm pretty sure he did that one because he also did the Dragon Ball Z movie, the live action that they did back in the 2000s. And I'm like, they're like the movies that you watch and you're like, I'm watching this because it's bad.
Yes, so
I'm not watching this with any expectations. No expectations at all.
Yeah, I'm fully bought into the whole phenomenon of things that are kind of so bad they're good at this stage in my life, and I wasn't always like that. You know, I would often get irritated by movies and things I was watching, just you know, because I couldn't get into them. But now I feel like I'm better equipped to appreciate other details that aren't necessarily maybe the intention of the creators, but still can be a fun little curiosity if you're forced to endure a certain media experience, shall we say. But I don't know. A lot of times the best solution is just to tap out of something that you're not enjoying.
Yeah, there's been movies that I'm like, this is boring. Can we stop watching it?
Yeah.
I feel like we've been, at least since like, I guess the pandemic kind of broke everything. I feel like we haven't been as enthused for movies that have been coming out. And so a lot of times we just wait until they come out on streaming. Mm-hmm. And we have avoided watching some pretty bad movies because I'm like, wow, this was not good. I'm glad I didn't pay to watch that, technically.
Like I heard some swirlings on this movie called The Gorge, which was recently covered on Corridor Digital doing a VFX breakdown, and it looked pretty silly. Like some of the moments, it's just like this, sci-fi action movie on Apple TV. I don't know. Did you ever see that by chance? Just one of those hit streaming. Yeah.
I don't have Apple TV, so I feel like I miss the things that pop up on there. But no, it's funny because like I know Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be in the new Dune, and so I was like, wow, this just looks like a scene from Dune because she has bangs, and I think she has bangs in Dune too. Yeah, at least in the part of the trailer I saw her in.
Yeah, Miles Teller, Anya Taylor-Joy. I heard. I feel like some people maybe saying it was decent, or just like something to put on your Apple TV, but I don't know. Some of the effects moments were kind of silly, like nuclear explosions that aren't very realistic, or I don't know, just some moments where the visual effects, aren't quite so integral. But
well, that's like the one movie I haven't seen that I want to see, that I keep meaning to watch, but then I don't, especially because my kids are around, is Sinners. I want to watch it. I've heard it's great. It won Oscars. I need to watch it. I haven't watched it. Have you watched it?
Yeah. I saw it in theaters. Yeah, a fun ride.
Watch it. Mm-hmm. I want to watch it. I haven't watched it. But then I'm like, my kids, like, I was like, oh, because of course it took us a minute to go see this movie. We went the day after Easter.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just because we just, every weekend is soccer and birthdays and events and stuff all the time. We're always busy. And so I was like, okay, we want to go without the kids. But I was like, this is how I feel about Sinners. Because I'm like, I don't want my kids to be around, because I've heard you don't want your kids around. Yeah. But I'm like, but my kids are always around for some reason. So I have to I'm going to have to watch it in the middle of the day one day and no one's here.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
because I want to watch it. I heard it's great.
Yeah, a lot of, tricky to navigate that. But yeah, if you get a chance, I saw most of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture and enjoyed them, generally. And yeah, like one batter after another, the Leo DiCaprio movie. That was good. And that won Best Picture. And yeah, like the new Avatar. I don't know. Did you see Fire and Ash? That wasn't nominated for Best Picture, but I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I haven't seen it. I don't think I've seen. Is that the third one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the second one.
Okay.
I don't know. I was like, I didn't think we needed more.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's one of those that I'll probably watch eventually, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But there was a lot of like military jokes about the third one that I saw, and so did Godfrey. They were kind of picking on the movie.
I don't know, some fun ideas, like very spiritual films in a way, like they're able to tap into the Awa, the Gaia spirit of the planet, and just like able to kind of communicate that in a way that's very tangible, because it's literally part of the biology of the creatures on the planet and the Na'vi, but also is trying to be an allegory for how we could be more in touch with our surroundings as humans, who are so technologically dependent and tend to just destroy everything we touch. No, but yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what this movie's about.
Yeah,
it's not doing that. It's not doing that. Not destroying things, fixing things.
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, like I wonder, like what is the genesis of the astrophage? Like what is that trying to, what caused that to manifest? Is life, I don't know, is that saying that's just sort of one of the trajectories in which life can evolve to ultimately just destroy the universe around it? Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because it's like, how many things have we made extinct by living here?
I don't know, but like, yeah, the astrophage is just like it's non-sentient, basically. It's just doing what it does.
Well, yeah, it's just living, and so it's not like intentionally trying to kill us. It's just like, hey, I gotta live. So
yeah.
And then we're like, no, we're gonna find something else that's gonna eat you. No living for you.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not a total doom sayer, because there was the Tau amoeba that was able to resist it, but how many solar systems would be doomed before ultimately it runs its course, and then there would be a few surviving stars or whatever that do have the resistive factors that allow them to survive. It would definitely reshape the landscape of our cosmos. That's for sure. If there weren't humans and Iridians to intervene and use our technology for good. Yeah.
Well, that was something else I saw about the message of like, the story itself. And it was just like, yeah, it's like, instead of like, just going and like, I don't know, going to a new planet, escaping, it's like, it's good to fix things. So instead of like running away, it's better to just come together and fix things versus, or trying to find a solution, because humans can do that. Versus just like, oh yeah, we're just going to move to Mars. Earth doesn't work anymore, go to Mars. So it's like
absolute last thing I want to touch on quick, because Grace does move to Iridia, or he's alive in this little bubble thing. I'm curious. I like listened to a whole podcast about the biology of Rocky and the Iridians, and like the planet that they're on would have to be I think it was 2.5 G or something. There were a lot of differences, obviously, between Earth and this planet, but they are able to build like the dome city or the environment. And it's like, is he able to survive the gravity due to any particular reason? Or I don't know. It's cool that he's able to live on that planet, but I don't think there's any kind of magic gravity technology that would allow him to feel differently. So I don't know how that diverges from the book or not. But
Well, from what I know about the ending, is that it's kind of like he's kind of like a pet. He's kind of like a pet in a tank.
yeah.
And so they're able, because they are more advanced, they're able to like build this like simulated dome place for him to live in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I guess because they were able to kind of like modify like the gravity and all that stuff. Sorry, a cat. Because they're able to like modify all of that stuff just within that like walking tunnel they made.
Okay.
They were able to modify it for him to be able to exist in it. So that was kind of like the general conception. Well, and it's funny because like in the movie, they're like, oh yeah, like we're preparing a ship for you to return to Earth. But like in the book, it's kind of basically like set, like he's not going back. He doesn't want to. He's like, nah, I'm going to stay here. And he's kind of like oblivious on if he actually saved the Earth or not. But I thought another little fun piece of that was Ava Strott. Apparently in the book, she gets arrested for like crimes against humanity because it's a Hail Mary. So she was like, not everyone agreed with her. So she does it. And then they're like, ooh, like people did not agree with her. And so they throw her in jail, but then she gets out of jail because she has connections. And then it kind of works in her favor anyway, because he saves the planet. But so in the movie though, when she's in like the Arctic area, which I assume it's just she's in the regular ocean, but the Earth is cooled so much that everything is like snow and ice and cold. That was my assumption anyway. But she has a tattoo like on her neck that's like a V with a line in it that means like life in prison or something like that. And so it's a nod to what happens in the book. But not many people catch it, I guess. But this is why I like listening to people talk about stuff like this, because I get to learn so many little things.
Yeah, depressing. I mean, yeah, like the thing that saves planet was originally going to be, it was really going to be stopped, from happening by the authorities involved. Yeah, but I guess the sort of thing that adds intrigue to these kinds of stories and kind of comes from the more cynical side of things, but realistic. But then also I was just curious about like the gravity of Iridia, and I didn't think that was necessarily addressed.
I don't think so. I think it's just one of those things like, hey, you just know that there's gravity here, okay? You don't ask questions.
So, apparently, because I listened to this thing that said it was like 2.5 times Earth's gravity. I'm wondering if like that's meant to be reflected in the film itself, because like he just seems to be able to walk around casually. And like, sure, in a lot of sci-fi, there's technology that exists that allows you to manipulate gravity at will, but that's sort of the soft sci-fi hocus pocus that it allows people to travel through time and
it's like Doctor Who.
Yeah,
it's like if the TARDIS is nearby, everyone speaks the same language.
Yeah.
No translations.
But it'd be fun if we could develop technology to magically alter the effects of gravity, but that's just one of those things that is just sort of immutable in our reality. Until if we were able to solve that, it would just totally upend, I think, our paradigm for a lot of technology. But a topic for another day. Well, anyways, Bridget, thank you so much for chatting about Project Hail Mary. Any last things to add before we sign off?
So the karaoke part with Ava Strott, that was a last minute decision. Apparently the actress was she would like sing a lot on set, and I guess Ryan Gosling was like, we should have her sing during this thing. And so they were like, hey, would you be willing to sing? And she was like, yes, I'll pick a song. And so I guess they had already gotten approval to use Close Encounters of the Third Kind from Steven Spielberg. Wow. Apparently had a conversation with him. He was like, yeah, sure. But she was like, I want to sing that Harry Styles song, whatever it's called. That song.
I didn't recognize it when I heard
You don't know that song?
No.
It's a Harry Styles song. Because it's Harry, gosh, what was it? Stupid sound. I'll find it. It is A Sign of the Times.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I was like, obviously it's poignant at that moment because, everyone's having fun. And it's like, oh yeah, we're having fun. Like, but it's also kind of serious. Or yeah, this is like kind of solemn and sad. So apparently she picked that song though. And they were like, they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get the right, because they only had 24 hours. They didn't know if they were going to get the rights to use it. And so they recorded it. They recorded like the reactions of everyone first. And then they recorded her singing the second time. And that after that, like filming, they were like, we have to get the rights. This has to be in the movie. We have to do it. And so they did it. So I thought that was a fun little thing. Oh, and also Rocky hates Mark. Mark is one of the like film crew on the set. That was an improv line.
Because Ryan Gosling used to have a significant other that is now with someone else. So much to endlessly kind of dive into with this movie and this topic, but very fun. Phil Lord, Chris Miller. I mean, it was Lord and Miller joint.
They did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny how they started on, or they were the initial directors for the Han Solo movie, but then that was a whole ordeal. But then now they're doing this other sci-fi like epic project that it shows that they're definitely solid filmmakers, and their work tends to have a certain humanity to it and a levity and just a very overall quality that is able to bring out the audiences and appeal to a mass audience like this one's demonstrating. So very cool, and best of luck to their endeavors in the future. And I know Ryan Gosling, of course, is venturing into the world of Star Wars. And
I figured you'd know that, but I was like, oh, do you know about it?
For sure.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So hopefully this will prime people for wanting more Ryan Gosling in a sci-fi setting.
Well, he's good at action.
Yeah.
Like, we already know he's good at action movies, so it's like, we'll be fine.
Star Wars Starfighter. So look forward to that. All right. Well, Bridget, I'll leave you to your evening, but appreciate you hopping on, and we'll hopefully hear more from you soon on the Thoughtcast. And I don't know, do you want to share any social media or anything like that?
Sure. You can find me on Instagram. It's Bridget5246. That's Bridge with a T, 5246.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thoughtcast.com, at Thoughtcast, on social media, at Philip Elke. I'm Philip Elke. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Bridget. And welcome to springtime. We're headed headlong into this year 2026, and time just keeps on a-flying. So in light of all of that, you all have a magical day. Have a wonderful week. Warm hugs.
You should say, and fist my bump.
Exactly. I forgot about that.